Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Professional Creative Podcast. I'm thrilled to introduce our two phenomenal guests today. I am here with Bail Ansari and Liz Olson. Now, Bail and Liz met recently, and they're both inside my coaching program. We call it PCBC, the Professional Creative Business Coaching Program. And they got my attention because of how they recently collaborated and really did a co-launch. And their results were phenomenal. So I'm so excited to dive into that with you today. I'm excited to introduce you to Liz and Bail.
I'm Bonnie Christine, and this is where all things creativity, design, business, and marketing unite. I'm a mama living in a tiny town tucked right inside the Smoky Mountains, running a multi-seven-figure business, doing the most creative and impactful work of my life. But when I first set out to become an entrepreneur, I was struggling to make ends meet and wrestling with how to accomplish my biggest dream of becoming a fabric designer. Fast forward to today, I'm not only licensing my artwork all over the world, but also teaching others how to design their creative life and experience the same success. I'm here to help you spend your life doing something that lights you up. I'll help you build a creative business that also creates an impact, changes people's lives, gives you all of the freedom you want, and is wildly profitable. Welcome to the Professional Creative Podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to share with you two incredible women on the show today. I'm here with Bail Ansari and Liz Olson. Hello, ladies.
Hello, Bonnie.
Hello.
Man, I am incredibly excited to dive into your story, both individually and collaboratively today. You have both been up to some incredible things. So before we dive in, would you just take a moment to each tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do? And Bail, we'll start with you.
All right. So I am Bail. I am the owner of Just One More Project, where I sell digital files for laser owners. It's kind of dorky, but it's very cool. I now teach laser owners how to design their own files using Adobe Illustrator and run a membership, and I'm doing all the things.
Okay. So for everyone who's like, wait, what did you say? Tell us, what is a laser owner? What are we doing with these lasers?
So I design files for people who own laser cutting machines. Laser cutting machines can cut, engrave, score a variety of different materials, and you can make really cool things with them, like products to sell, like gifts to give, all kinds of things. So in order to make them, though, you need to be able to design them. And so that's what I teach.
So I won't ask you what your favorite one is, Bail, but when I think about laser machines, I think that there's three big ones. They're the Silhouette, the Cricut, and the Glowforge. Would you agree that those are the top three?
Well, a Silhouette and a Cricut are blade cutting machines.
That's right.
Cutting is with a beam of light. It's so incredibly dorky, but so cool.
Different. I know this. Okay, so Glowforge is probably at the top of your list for laser.
Which we both own and we're both excited about. So, yes.
Amazing. All right, now that we're all caught up to speed.
Yeah, everyone gets
it. Let's go to you, Liz.
Yeah, so I'm also in the laser world. I'm Liz of Bella Collective. I sell laser SVG files on Etsy and then teach other laser owners how to sell their own files on Etsy as well.
So I have had the absolute privilege of getting to know both of you, especially over the last few months, because you have been a part of the Professional Creative Coaching Program. And so I kind of want to dig into how you two met. I think you met before the coaching program, but I'm not sure. And then also through this, you have decided to do a collaboration, which we'll get to. But first, I would like to know, how did you find out about the Professional Creative Coaching Program and what prompted you to join us?
So, Bonnie, I took immersion last year in 2023, and it was at a time that the laser industry is so new. We don't really have anybody teaching business skills. And so I got to the point where I needed some advice. And I found you. And even though I had never heard of surface design before, all of your business advice was so transferable to my world. I was just so excited. You were the perfect fit. It was exactly what I needed. So I've just been following along with all of your classes, your podcast. And then when you offered coaching last fall, it was just such a perfect next step for me.
It was that easy yes, for sure. And yes. I think I had been following along with your professional creative podcast for a while. And as a busy business owner, I just really appreciated that you would give us like snippets of the important things that we needed to know as business owners instead of having to dive in and read an entire book. It was like you kind of like gave us the bullet points and you could roll with it with that. So when you talked about your coaching program, I was like, oh my God, it's just going to be more of that. And it absolutely 100%
is. Okay. I love that. So you each have courses individually, and then you came together to collaborate on your course launch. So Liz, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your course, and then how did it kind of transpire to collaborate on the launch?
Yeah. So my course is all about how to scale your SVG file stores. So it's taking laser file designers, teaching them how to run their business for the long haul. So it was actually immersion, Bonnie, that inspired us both to start thinking about courses. After taking immersion, it was just like, we had such a realization that there is nothing like this in our world. So could we be the people to offer both like the illustrator design aspect, which is Bale, and then also the business, how to scale, how to grow and sustain things over the long term. So it was really the combination of those two things and taking your course that got us thinking.
Yes, both of our courses really complement each other. Like I teach the beginner basics, everything you need to learn about file design for lasers. And then Liz takes it up a notch and teaches you the next step. Because once you know how to design, you can actually create a business with it. So they really, really work together.
So did you always know that you were building these courses in order to collaborate, or did you build them and then decide?
I would say I always knew. It took a little while for Bale to get on
like board, still but... here. Yeah, I think that we have been talking about this for a while, Liz, and like every couple of months we came up with a really cool idea and then sat on it. And then every couple of months it came up again and sat on it. And this was like, finally we were like, okay, this is it. This makes sense. Let's do this one.
Yeah, and it makes sense because we really wanted to launch after an event to kind of capture on that momentum. So, Belle, you knew you were going to be hosting a summit in March. So we had that coming up on our radar, and that's kind of what really got us the push to actually do this.
Yes. So one of the big aspects of Just One More Project is I host annual summits for laser owners, and we kind of bring together a whole bunch of users and makers and teach a variety of different things. And so after that event, we knew that it was probably a really good time to launch it. And we did.
So I think when I think about our listeners, one of the things that holds people back from collaborating is as soon as you have the idea, you think about all the like little details of actually launching together. How do you do it? What's the back end look like and all of that? So can you walk us through what the planning process was for the collaboration? And then also I would love to know like what popped up as a challenge for you along the way and how did you kind of overcome them? Yeah.
I think something that works really well for us is Bale and I are very different people. And sometimes that can be, rub people the wrong way, but for us, it works so well. So I love the planning. I love let's take the next step. And I love that Bale is just all in. She will take suggestions and run with them. So we started off pretty early on with an Asana document that we just, we put all of our ideas there, all of our to-dos and tasks. And that really helped give us some clarity at the beginning for, okay, can we accomplish this on our timeline? Who do we need to hire? Where do we, how do we get help? along the way. So it was really helpful for us to actually hire out a lot of work, where our weaknesses overlapped or things that, we both didn't enjoy doing. We hired that out, and that was really a game changer for us.
Give me an example of some things that you hired out. I loved that.
Yes. Well, we both, as much as we nerd out on it, the tech and the setup and the systems, the payment processors, all that kind of stuff that like we just didn't really want to mess with. We hired out for that. We ended up hiring a support team during the whole customer service and just making sure that, the needs were met of our students.
And we shared the support team too.
Yeah, we shared them. We split their hours and just sort of, that was a whole ordeal, but we sorted it out. I think we'll definitely do things differently next time, I think a little bit. And we kind of learned what worked and what didn't work. And yeah.
So talk to me about some of those challenges that popped up and how did you overcome them?
So Bale was in the midst of running her summit. That was just such an incredibly busy time. So I think for us, what popped up were more like just the amount of tasks were too much for us to both handle at that time. So really, again, it was the hiring out piece. Bonnie, we heard you in the back of our brains. In coaching, you emphasize this all the time, like delegate, hire out, so that you can work in your own zone of genius, right? So I think that really just the hiring piece, whenever we would come up to something that we didn't know how to handle or what to do, we actually ended up hiring a launch coach as well. And that was hugely helpful to get us organized and help us strategize and see the bigger picture.
As a business owner, it is really hard to make decisions when you don't know if they're the right ones. And it's really helpful to be able to throw decisions around and decide, is this good? Is this not good? It's so good. So yeah, we were able to make a couple of choices there that we wouldn't have made normally.
Yeah. This is such a simple concept, but one that I love so much. I recently read Who Not How, which is a book by Ben Hardy and I believe Dan Sullivan. And the concept, right, is like, you don't have to figure out how to do everything. You just have to figure out who can do it for you. And that is a great way to look at it as well. I love that you integrated that into everything. So one of the things that I think I immediately go to is the pricing strategy. So are your courses, were they already the same price? Are they different? Did you have to change? How did you kind of figure out the pricing of the individual courses? And then also, how did you collaborate? I think you did a bundle. So talk me through that part of can we call it like a co-launch?
Yeah, I like
Talk to me about the co-launch.
Yeah, so we did not have our courses created at the time we decided to bundle them. So we got to chat with you, Bonnie, actually during coaching, ask our questions. And one of the things you said was the price of your offer needs to correlate with how much contact people have with you. So that was always in our mind, how many live calls do we want to have? How much can people interact with us? And that really informed the prices of our offers. So we landed together on the price of $497 for our individual courses, and we structured them exactly the same. So we had the same timeline, schedule, number of modules. So
we did it on the same platform also.
Yeah. So everything really lined up. And then when we combined them together, what we wanted was just a really easy yes for people. So our bundle price was $697, which is a really steep discount. But what we found was actually over 90% of our enrollees opted for the bundle. So it was just really surprising to us, honestly, but was great. We loved that.
Yeah. It was such a no-brainer offer for everyone. What I love about the two of you so much is that theoretically you're competitors, and in practicality, you decided to complement each other instead. And that just leads to community is so much more important than competition and what you were able to do together. So let's get to that. Tell me, what were your initial expectations? This is the first time you're doing this particular class. So what were your initial expectations? And then what were the results?
Well, I thought it was going to be incredibly easy, but it was challenging. I think the results, though, it exceeded my expectations. We initially did not think we were going to have such a huge turnout with the launch. It was the first time we'd ever done it together. Do you want me to go into some numbers? Would you like that?
I would love. Like, did you have a number in mind at the beginning? And what was that?
It's my first time for everything. So I was hoping for, let's get 30 to 50 students in here. Let's see if we could do that.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, we'll try. I was really skeptical on it because I hadn't even created the course. I was initially running my course as a self-paced course. And it was not revamped as much as it is now. And so I was like, yeah, okay, we'll see.
So how many students did you get?
So the bundle, we had 108 people purchase it.
Wow.
Individually, we had 26 people purchase mine, 21 people purchase Liz. And what is that? What was our total then?
Mine was like 129. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay. So would you share the revenue numbers with us too?
Yes. I think we both walked away with about $45,000 from the launch.
Incredible. It was more than double what you had thought, Liz. And I love how almost identical numbers for individual sales as well. And so $45,000, do you think that you did better because you co-launched?
Yeah. We've talked about this so much that we both really think that we pulled in way more numbers together than we ever could have alone. But then beyond that, it was just the fact that we had each other to lean on during the launch. Like that is so valuable and was able to like pull us through the whole way. So it just that was the hugest highlight for me, was like collaborating together brought us way further than we could have gone separately.
I can't say how many nights there were where I would Marco Polo Liz and be like, did you write this email? Did you put this in here? I did this too. Is this the same thing? Okay, go. And it was like, it was really nice to be able to, go back and forth like that because we were both in it together.
Because you don't live in the same town.
Oh, we haven't even met each other in person.
No.
Liz, have we? No, we have not.
Well, this is, Bale, I just realized this is our 1-year anniversary this week of being friends. Yeah.
Okay. You've never even met in person.
We're going to. This is the year we will.
Are you tired of spending hours crafting the perfect email only to be met with crickets in your inbox? Or worse, having your emails end up in your subscribers' spam folders? I know that feeling, which is why I switched to ConvertKit as my email service provider many years ago. ConvertKit is the email marketing platform built by creators for creators. With ConvertKit, you can easily create and send beautiful, personalized emails that your subscribers are not only going to open, but also love. They have a drag and drop email editor that makes it easy to design emails that look and feel professional without any coding. Plus, their powerful automation tools make it easy to send the right message to the right person at the right time. But that's really not all. ConvertKit's tagging and segmenting tools make it so easy to send targeted messages to your subscribers based on their interests and behaviors. So for example, you can imagine that on my email list, I have people who are interested in buying my fabric to use in their projects, and then also people who want to learn how to design their own fabric. And so through ConvertKit's tagging system, I can communicate to those two different groups of people so that I don't ever have to worry if I'm bugging the other group with something that they're not interested in. You can also use ConvertKit to actually build out a page and a form so that you can easily grow your email list and turn subscribers into customers. So you know that we always want you to be growing your email list. And I can tell you that if you dive into ConvertKit, you can start adding subscribers to your email list within a day of focused effort. It's not that difficult. It's super easy to set up, build a landing page, put an opt-in in, and then start getting people on your list. So if you are ready to take your email marketing to the next level, I want you to head on over to bonniechristine.com/resources and sign up for a free trial on ConvertKit today. You can go ahead and dive in and get familiar with the program. Their support is amazing, and see what you think. This is truly an email service provider who can grow with you from 1 subscriber to 500,000. So again, head on over to bonniechristine.com/resources and check out ConvertKit today. Tell me about your audiences. Were your audience sizes, your Instagram, let's go like Instagram followers and email lists, were they similar?
No. Bale runs summits, and that has been really great for building her email list and audience. I am much smaller. So I think my email list size is about 3,000 and my Instagram following is about the same.
When you run summits, you grow your email list very quickly. So I think I'm at about 20,000 folks on the email list.
Did you try to wait? Like, who were these people coming from? Or you just said we're splitting it because it's both courses?
On the back end, we did set up the tech to just be able to track it. It wasn't a big deal to us to know where they were coming from because we knew we were sending it to the same people. Right. But we did track it, and it was cool to know the numbers, but it was what it was.
We set it up to be a 50% affiliate system. So anytime someone purchased from Bale, the bundle, I would get 50% of that. Same thing for me. So Bale did draw in more customers, but we just kind of decided at the front end, like, we know we are marketing to the same people. We're just going to split it. And I feel good about it. Bale?
I feel good about it too. And I know that like initially, whatever our opt-ins are and things, they're ultimately leading to the same bundle offer down the road. So it really doesn't matter to us too much.
Okay. All right. So you walk away with 45 grand. Tell me, what did you do? Like, was this the biggest launch chunk of income that you had? And then, like, how do you even process that? What do you do the night of? Like, you celebrate?
What did we do? I think we were so exhausted. Like, Bonnie, we were exhausted. And I think that after the course ended, we both spent an entire day of like exhaustion where we were like, don't talk to me. Goodbye. And and we could tell like we were both exhausted, but we were exhausted together. So it was really nice.
It was still the camaraderie piece.
Yes, it was good. And it was like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow when you're in a good mood. All right, great. You know, it was nice. But I definitely think that with the launch, it definitely, for me personally, it definitely changed my mindset in how I run my business because I'm a social worker. I graduated with a social work degree. I worked as a social worker. And when I had kids, I kind of decided to take a short break and stay home with the kids and kind of wait until they were a little bit older. So that's when this business kind of came about. And as the business came about, it was always a temporary thing in my mind. It was always this is on the side. And I think this was the first time for me that I was like, well, this isn't really temporary. I don't think I'm going to go back to work. And so I think this is probably the first time that I've really, really taken that seriously, I think, and kind of set up my business the right way. So that's what's happening now.
Yeah. And I think similarly for me, it just really helped me feel grounded, I guess, in my business and able to look forward and plan ahead, knowing that, okay, we're going to do this again. Education is something that I really enjoy. I had never done it before, so I needed to go through to know this is the direction I want to head. And it just gives me so much freedom, I guess, for my future business decisions to know that that's a huge chunk of income that I can kind of rely on for future launches. And just opens up so much potential for me.
I want to know what it made possible for you. Like, you get this kind of surprising amount, and do you put some back in the business? Do you pay off debt? Do you spend it? Like, what is it? What did it change, and how does it feel?
You know, the first thing I did was to hire somebody to look over my course material. So I wanted to invest back in my business and make it even better, make the course even better for the next time I launch. So that was my first thing. And then I got to pay off some debt that I've been wanting to pay off for a long time. So it just felt so good to be able to do that and also invest back into my business. Amazing. Loved it.
For my family, my husband's always been the sole earner, right? Since we've had kids. And this was the first time where he was like, okay, well, we got to take her a little seriously. And so it was like, hey, I got to work today. You got to take the day off. She's sick, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like it's actually nice. It's good.
Huge. Okay. So, Bale, how old are your children?
I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I quit my job when my 10-year-old was 2 and
And
never went back.
you have children. Is that right, Liz?
No, I'm single, no kids. It's just me.
Okay. All right. So tell me, what, if any, role did the coaching program play in this? I know we got to talk at one point about like right in the middle of all of it, but I'd love to know, was it helpful? What did you get from the coaching program during all of this?
Oh my gosh, I can say so many things. Shall I say them?
Yes, you shall.
Yeah. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, the snippets of information of, Bonnie, you're a big reader and I am not. I am a audiobook person. And so for me to know that this is what she recommends, here's the big picture. Like you gave us so many things like that of here's the concept. If you want to learn more, here's your resources. And it really, really helped me take, things for how to launch something, how to work with a team, how to be a good leader, all the things that I've never really learned about. You just gave us in bite-sized chunks. And if I wanted to know more about it, I knew exactly where to do it. So I know that there was a point where you had talked about the launch book by Jeff Walker, and Liz and I both got it at the same time, I think. And we were highlighting the parts in there that we were like, okay, did you do this part? Did you do this part? And it was just like you gave us the framework of what it was, and then we just rolled with it. So had we not been in the coaching program, I wouldn't have known where to start. I wouldn't have known where to look. I mean, it was just so helpful for us.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple things that come to mind, but one is just access to you, Bonnie. Like I felt like we would come up with questions, Bale and I, each week, and be like, okay, let's just ask Bonnie. So we got to talk to you so many times and bring our questions and get really good advice and good answers. So that was huge. I think also, so our accountability pods just were so great for making connections. So, our launch coach comes from my accountability pod, the relationships that were from there. It's Colleen Underwood. So
it's Colleen, of course
amazing.
it is.
Yeah. And then also just your transparency with walking through all of your launches and what you would do differently and how it went. That was so valuable for us to be able to model after. It was just huge.
Yeah. And the honesty of you sharing parts of your business that, not many people share. It's just refreshing because you can see really the nitty gritty things that no one really thinks about to share or talk about. And I mean, it's just so helpful for people who are right in it. And one of the things that I really, really appreciated though, was that it was not a beginner level coaching program. It was someone who has already done the beginner basic kind of stuff and is at a point that really needs to move forward. And I was at a point where I was in the middle and I was stuck and I didn't know what steps I needed to take to move forward. I was kind of lingering in this spot of my business. And there was just so many things in there that pushed me forward to take it to that next level. And that was what I needed.
Yeah.
Well, I just think the two of you are just such the perfect fit. It's let me just see you soar, see you take off, and to see you take off together. And this, capacity was so fun as well. So I'm imagining someone listening who feels like, oh my goodness, I could co-launch with this person or this type of product. So if someone was interested, what advice would you give someone else who is considering collaborating on a launch?
We talked about this. Just make sure that your audience aligns well together. Your offers align well together. In our case, it was just an easy yes. It was here's the first part you learn and here's the second part you learn. And it just really meshed well together. One of the things that I enjoyed doing was showcasing our friendship a little bit more. It helped our audience builds trust, like knowing that we worked so well together and we were both kind of had the same goal in mind. Obviously, like you even mentioned, we are like basically competitors. You know, we both sell files to the same audience, and yeah, but just knowing that we're willing to collaborate together and have a similar goal, I think that builds trust. What was the other one we said? Oh, the nerdy one, project management tools. Like make sure you set it all up so that you guys do it correctly.
And you use Asana, is that right?
Yeah, like we use Asana, but there's so many. There's like Trello, Notion, all of the ones. And just setting up the tasks for each other makes it where you can hold each other accountable. You know, I'll be like, Liz, you got to work on the graphics for this while I work on this. Well, I think it was the opposite. It was Liz always worked on the copy and I worked on the graphics. But I think it was just setting up those tasks, knowing what they were and knowing that each of us had those specific things. It was written down. It was like no questions, just boom.
Yeah. And for me is something, Bonnie, you say all the time, clear is kind. And so I would say start off your collaboration with getting all the details on the table. So we discuss payments right away. We discuss, splitting up tasks. So come up with your systems for how you're going to divide those things, write them down so that you can refer back to them. But as much clarity as you can have in the beginning, I think is only going to be helpful. And then another thing that was great for us was we chose to focus on marketing the bundle as the highest value. So we had the most bonuses. We had, we were directing everybody to purchase the bundle by highlighting, like I would say things like, this is what I love about Bale's course. And she would say the same things about mine, so that we were trying to get the bundle to be the highest offer that was bought. And it worked.
Yeah. So what advice would you give someone when it comes to like finding the other person to collaborate? I would love to hear how you two met, and if someone was ready to kind of make that connection or pitch the idea, right? What advice would you give?
I think first and foremost, you need to put yourself in a room with people who are headed the same direction as you are. So that's what coaching did for us. We are both in your coaching program. We met beforehand, but for us to both be learning the same things together was so, so helpful. So put yourself
like the same level, basically, of where we were at, like everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's first and foremost. Get yourself in the room with other people who are doing the same things.
Yeah. As it's always been like a temporary thing in my mind, I've never really invested in my business very much. And I think this was one of the big investments of my business was I'm going to invest in coaching. I think this is kind of important, and so I'm like a firm believer. If you invest in yourself, it's gonna be good, And so now every time I've definitely seen returns in all the things I'm investing in myself, which is it's just so important. There's so much growth.
It's a lesson that I learned, right, over the years as well. And so especially as I am moving into the coaching space, I always want to make sure that I'm sandwiched in the coaching relationship, right? So I'm also getting coached from multiple places as well. And then I think it just is so important to do both, be coached and coach. And you two are also, coaching your students as well. And it's really beautiful. My friends, well, this is amazing. I'd love for you to both. So to be clear, right? You're not business partners. You're running your own completely separate businesses, and you came together just to do a single co-launch, which I think is just so incredible. So I want to give you both a chance to say a little bit more about where people can find you. And then ahead of that, I'll just go ahead and let everybody know that we'll link Bale and Liz up over on the show notes at professionalcreative.com if you want to go dive into their worlds. Bale, why don't you start?
Yes, I can be found at justonemoreproject.com. I am usually on Instagram at justonemoreproject. You can find all of my offers there, digital files for lasers, courses for laser owners, a membership for laser owners, just all kinds of fun stuff on there. So you can find me there.
Perfect. And what about you, Liz?
You can find me at bellacollective.com. And my course is all about how to scale your SVG file store on Etsy. And I also have a free class on my website for how surface designers can start just really easily translating their designs for SVG files. So I would love to, bring this collaboration piece into the laser world more. So if you're interested if you have a creative business and would love to collaborate with us, with laser owners, we have put together a little resource too that we'll have linked where you can, learn how you can collaborate better with people like us.
Yeah, I love that. Say a little bit more about that because we want to link that up for everybody as well.
Yeah, so we have put together a resource for, 3 different ways that you could collaborate with laser owners. So that is, through licensing, through small batch manufacturing. There's just a lot of different ways a creative business could utilize people like us, like laser owners. And then we've also put together our top 10 tips for collaborating on a course. So if you're interested in learning more about, how we would recommend going about doing that, we'll have that resource linked down in the show notes for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thanks for having us.
So I hope that you found that conversation with Bale and Liz as inspiring as I did. I think that it truly shows what happens when creativity meets collaboration. And such a great example of how collaboration and community is so much more important than competition. Together, we can just do so much more than we could ever do alone. Now, we also talked about PCBC, my coaching program called the Professional Creative Business Coaching Program. And I'm so excited that we have opened it to the public for the very first time. So before this, it was by invitation only, and we're opening it now to you. And so if you want to find out more about this program, you can visit bonniechristine.com/coach. I would love to have you consider joining us. It's where I really get to pour into creative entrepreneurs, and I would love it if you were there. My friends, create the beauty that you want to see come alive in the world. And remember, there's room for you.